Ever wonder what it takes to decorate the White House for the holiday season? Are you curious about where the First Ladies get those beautiful decorating ideas? Well, this hour on It's Your Call, we're going to tell you just what you need to know so that you can decorate like a First Lady. And it all begins right now. You know, the White House is a majestic structure any time of the year, but it's especially magnificent during the holiday season. Beautifully decorated, it also bears the personal touch of the First Lady who resides there. So who helps their visions become reality? A team of decorating experts, including our special guest today, Colleen Christian Burke, who's about to share with us ideas for decorating like the First Ladies. Hello, everyone. It's good to have you with us. I'm Lynn Doyle. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Coming up today, we'll take you inside the Obama family White House. You're going to see how Michelle Obama has paid tribute to earlier First Ladies, including Lady Bird Johnson and Betty Ford. You'll also see how she incorporated the beloved family dog into her decorating theme, the bouquet, and you'll get an overall feel of the mood that she's created at the White House for 2013. Also later in the show, we're going to take you inside the Pennsylvania governor's mansion to see what it takes to decorate it. And who's going to provide all this wonderful insight for us? My good friend, Colleen Christian Burke, who is the author of a spectacular book called Christmas with the First Ladies, the White House Decorating Tradition from Jacqueline Kennedy to Michelle Obama. She's assisted with the decorating of the White House on at least 2 occasions. I am certain she's going to be invited back. Great to see you.
Oh, thanks for having me. Thanks for all those kind words.
Oh, it was so exciting to hear that you had been invited back. First, you helped Laura Bush decorate the Bush White House, and then you got the call that you were included in Michelle Obama's decorating team. What was that like for you?
You know, I felt like I hit the lottery not once but twice. It's still, you know, a very humbling experience and just really crazy. Like, who does that? Who gets to go twice? So I was really very honored to go and delighted to put in some long hours and make sure it looks great.
And it is a long process, isn't it? It actually starts in the summertime when you get that call. And then what happens?
So, well, first of all, it starts even sooner than that. You know, I'll never forget the little story. Hillary Clinton was told in July, you are so far behind in the Christmas decorations, because they start planning almost as soon as one ends, they have to start thinking about the next. So those kinds of conversations actually start in the winter. They bring in the volunteer decorators much later in the process. I like to say the First Lady is the commander-in-chief of Christmas. We're her foot soldiers. We execute her vision and make sure it's just exactly what she wants. So there are Christmas elves working all year long, though, on the White House.
Well, you know, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that was going to be one of my questions. Do the designers come up with a couple of plans and present it to the First Lady, or does the First Lady engineer how she sees the White House looking?
Well, you know, each First Lady is different, and they have taken both routes and to really great end results. Mrs. Obama works with a committee, an agency out of Chicago called Agency EA, and she comes up with her own themes, and she has a very strong vision of what she wants to accomplish. And this year, the White House Social Secretary put his stamp on the whole process as well. And then we as designers come in and we look at what they want to do, and they give us our supplies, and basically we do it.
Wow, make it sound so easy. So what was the theme for 2013?
The theme this year is Gather Around, and Mrs. Obama loves these themes that make us think about what's important. So this one is gather around your family, gather around your traditions. How about gather around our country's traditions that make us proud? So it's a really wonderful way to think about what's important at the holidays. And she always honors the military, and she likes to work with colors that we wouldn't normally think of at Christmas.
So how do you translate that gather around theme from her brain to actual physical decorations?
Well, I'll tell you how it worked its way into the White House this year. One example is the gingerbread house this year sits on an edible fireplace, because lots of times stories are told around a fireplace. Families gather around a fireplace. She also really honors our military with the official Blue Room tree, which is the biggest tree in the house. And on this tree, they actually hung pictures of military parents as they came home from service, reuniting with their children. So all these really special little moments in time. And so we're really encouraged to think about our families.
Wow. So how long does it actually take and how many people are involved in the process?
Well, so this year, 85 people met on Thanksgiving night. I like to say service to country. We all cut our own Thanksgiving celebration short, and we had a meeting in Washington, and we worked for 3 long days at an off-site warehouse where you pre-build everything. You're given all your supplies, you're told what exactly the vision is, and you start bringing it to life. And then after those 3 days, you report to work at the White House, and you work there for 3 long days. So in 6 days, 85 people transformed the White House into, a winter wonderland.
Wow, that's amazing. And you actually get to work with Mrs. Obama. Is she hands-on, or is it basically the elves doing the work and then she comes in and checks it out?
This experience was a little bit different. When Mrs. Bush, when I worked for her, she came through quite a bit, and we got very specific instructions, like too much snow, not enough snow, and we were really working to find that right balance. We would get reports from the First Lady, whether she liked it or not, but she kind of did those inspections in private. And we were just delighted to be there, making it come alive for her.
And you mentioned that she actually used colors. Look at you, you're so excited to be there.
I really am. That's the fireplace I was telling you about. That is made of cookies. That is not a real fireplace.
Wow, and does someone actually get a chance to eat that when holidays are
over? That is a state secret. I don't know what happens to the gingerbread house.
That's going to be served to some head of state that they don't like.
Well, during the holidays, Marines stand guard to make sure no one breaks it or damages it. So.
What are you putting on the trees here?
This is the red room. We were working on some, you can actually see one of the burlap pockets that we were talking about before we came on air. And the red room is specifically done in reds, and sometimes we have some cranberries there. Let me help you with that.
Okay. So you mentioned a burlap pocket. That's going to segue very nicely into this, because why don't you tell us what this is?
Sure. So this is one of the things, this is one of the crafts that you can make if you want to recreate Mrs. Obama's style in your house. And basically we made this with a piece of paper. We covered it with burlap. We kind of treated it like it was an envelope and glued up the bottom. And then you can put whatever you like inside. You can make it as individual as your family. You go crazy, you can be very simple, just have some greens. And we just put a little Post-it tag here. And what Mrs. Obama did, what we did for her, was we actually put the theme this year right in the center, gather around. And about, like you said, 30 of these hang in the White House.
So people might think, oh, I could never duplicate what's hanging on the White House Christmas tree. And yet here, probably for maybe less than $20,
oh my gosh, this is less than $5. This is
less than
$3. This is a piece of paper and some burlap. What I really commend Mrs. Obama for is she picks every year, there are certain crafts and decor that you can recreate in your home for really pennies. And she wants it to be accessible to all Americans.
I love this. And you put the live greens in it, and you can have one or you can have 15.
And it has a little twine hook here that you can hang, and it's large, so it makes a statement. You can make these smaller if you like, but in the White House we make everything big because the scale is really big.
Oh, listen to her. In the
That's
White
how
House,
we do it. Yes, that's
make
how we do
everything
it.
big. Well, you can see you standing next to that Christmas tree, the
Big.
size of the Christmas tree, and they're all live, or are they artificial trees?
Now, there have been some presidents that have
Wow.
been allergic, President Reagan and President Clinton, so there were some artificial greens when they were in office.
These trees are 3 times your size,
And guess what?
Colleen.
All of these trees were from New Jersey, which I thought was really great, from our part of the world. So
Wow, that's great. It must have been just so much fun. I mean, I'm sure people at home are saying they would love to do it.
Yes.
Because your background, even though you've done a lot of different things, I mean, have you been specifically, exclusively a designer?
Well, you know what? When my children were born, I stepped away from journalism, and I did start a design firm that kind of grew by word of mouth, and that is what gave me the confidence to think that I could go and decorate at the White House. But the team of the decorating team is a mix of people. There are decorators, there are florists, but there are also always teachers, and lots of times there are people who have served in the military who now serve on the decorating team.
Wow. So, listen, folks, if you are at home and you're saying, hey, I could make a $5 ornament, maybe I could be on the team that decorates the White House, email us if you have questions or comments, and we'll see if we can give you some answers. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to have more of the inside scoop on decorating the White House. Plus, we're going to take you behind the scenes of decorating the Pennsylvania Governor's Mansion as well. That's something that Colleen's been involved with also. So if you have questions or comments for us, email me at lynn@lynndoyle.net. Welcome back again, everyone. I'm Lynn Doyle. This is It's Your Call, and we're giving you tips on how you can decorate like a first lady. Now, despite all the decorating that I've done over the years, and believe me, it's a lot, I'm always looking for new and different ideas and then some. And the ones that we're getting today are coming straight from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Yep, the White House is always spectacularly decorated, and you probably think that you could never have access to the creative minds behind those displays. But here on It's Your Call, we do. Colleen Christian Burke is one of those designers, and she's my special guest this hour. Later on, she's going to take us inside the Pennsylvania Governor's Mansion, which she also helped to decorate as well. But right now, she's kind of giving us some ideas on how very inexpensively you could mirror the same ornaments that Michelle Obama has on her tree. And I think people might be surprised at that. They probably think of the White House as always being the Nancy Reagan years,
yes,
with the most expensive gold ornaments you could possibly find. And in fact, most of the first ladies were somewhat frugal and tried to make it very homespun.
Yes, and actually try to include everybody, make it very inclusive, because the people who are coming to visit the White House are your average Americans. So if they can take away an idea or a craft that they can do with their families, that's a home run for a first lady. And I mean, that's just a great thing to do at the holidays.
I'm glad that you mentioned the word inclusive, because it's not just Christmas that is honored at the White House, being America's public home.
Yes.
But it's also acknowledged for Kwanzaa and Hanukkah.
Right. Ever since Richard Nixon, there has been an official menorah in the White House. Kwanzaa has been recognized, and the Obamas really do try to recognize many religions at the White House. And then they do also recognize Christmas, but they often refer to it as holiday season to include everyone.
Yes, and that's a debate for another
yes,
show.
We could fill a whole month.
Because they celebrate Christmas,
yes,
that's why they decorate the way they do. You mentioned that Michelle Obama did something a little bit differently than previous first ladies, in that she's incorporating colors that aren't traditionally considered Christmas colors. Give me an example.
Well, for example, in the East Room, where they have all the big parties, the colors are pastel. They're pale pink and pale blue, mixed with gold and silver. Where I was working in the Green Room, we were making these adorable felt flowers out of corals and purples, things that you don't traditionally associate with Christmas.
And you actually brought a sample of one of the felt flowers, right?
I did.
Tell me about it. Sure.
Well, let's see. Voila. So this is an idea that Mrs. Obama chose this year, and it reflects Lady Bird Johnson, because she did these wildflowers on a tree made out of felt one year. And this is something you can do very simply at home, but you can see they're purple and yellow and pink, and it's very graphic, and this would be really adorable in a little girl's bedroom, and very, very easy to do. So basically, you're going to cut a flower shape, let's see if I can show you, out of felt, which is pennies on the dollar, and then
we like
a smaller one in a different color. And this is a great project for white glue. You can do this with little children. They can glue it, they can dry, and you simply hang them on the tree. And so, these are some unusual colors. You'll also see turquoise, a lot of browns at the White House this year.
Wow. You wouldn't think
there's
of
a whole rainbow out there,
brown and turquoise when you think about the holiday season, but hey, we're expanding our horizons. That's why we're here. We're giving you ideas on how you can decorate like a first lady. And very quickly, before we move on to the Governor's Mansion, she loves her puppy, Bo.
Well, Bo is the elder statesman
the older statesman.
Now we
that's
have
right.
Sonny, but it's not just the Obamas who love the first dogs. The country is wild about the first dogs. So these are actually called bouquets.
Bouquets.
In honor of Bo. So they are paper poinsettia flowers, and the instructions for this can be found at whitehouse.gov, but you could make a bouquet and just simply tuck it into your tree, and it would be really adorable and something fun you could do with your kids.
Can you do that? Can you just put like
Sure,
maybe in the
let's
piece
see.
there and see? There we
See if
go.
the camera can read that.
So it's just as simple as I mean, seriously.
you might not want to do it with these flowers,
No,
but you
I
could
was
use
just saying
it. Yeah.
how you would put it into
Right,
a
you can
tray.
just simply so how we made these, this just goes back to what we did when we were kids. This is tissue paper, and you fold it so you make a fan, and then you're going to pinch it in the middle with a pipe cleaner.
Good old pipe cleaner.
And then you just peel it apart, but it's the pipe cleaner that will easily tuck into a tree and give you something to attach with.
Okay.
And that's the bouquet in honor of Bo. And Bo showed up in the gingerbread house this year. His paw print is on the Christmas card. I mean, these dogs are celebrities in the White House.
Okay. So see, I'm telling you, these are the most simple ideas and not
Yes.
expensive, and it's going to mimic the White House, the President and Mrs. Obama. Okay. Colleen also had a chance to help decorate the governor's mansion in Pennsylvania. So I'm curious to know what that was like, what that experience was like for you.
Well, that was really wonderful. This is the second year in a row I've been part of decorating the governor's mansion. Mrs. Corbett is really wonderful. She's amazingly hands-on. They have a theme this year celebrating the arts. So they have a nutcracker tree. They have a tree that celebrates the culinary arts. They have lots of gingerbread houses there, and the main tree is decorated with ornaments made by children, and the word art is spelled out. That's what we were just looking at, and that's really great and fun.
These are beautiful. And they were donated?
I know. So these are, this is so funny. The gingerbread houses were made by culinary students, and then the fresh greens that you were seeing, literally Mrs. Corbett will say, "What do you want?" And she'll go out and clip it from the garden, and then we're making arrangements for her with what she's clipping from the garden, and it's really great fun.
Now these, I remember my folks and grandparents having these.
Yeah.
This is simply
Cloves.
Fruit with cloves.
Fruit with cloves, and the cloves smell really, really good. So basically, is all you want to do is get yourself some fresh fruit. I love the way we worked with orange and yellow and green. It really made a statement. And at the governor's mansion, we simply put it on a little silver platter, like we've done here, and it can just sit on a table, and it's very festive, and it smells great.
It does, and again, it's very cost efficient, and people at home could do it. It's not like they have to go and they have to spend a lot of money at some of the big department stores.
And these last too. You can do it at the beginning of the season, and it will take you right through.
Is it the same kind of process at the governor's mansion where the first lady has very definitive ideas and then she kind of works with the whole team?
Yes, and I can't even tell you how hands-on Mrs. Corbett is. It's really wonderful to work with her. We're like down in the trenches with her, and she really cares about how the decorations look and who comes through and how they're going to experience it. And if you get a chance to visit in Harrisburg, I encourage you to, because they really are beautiful.
Oh, sounds great. You've just got the greatest job.
I'm in heaven, and you are too.
It might be a lot of work, but boy, I love it. So we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, if you have questions or comments, you can email them to me. We'll try to help you out. I'll forward any comments that you have for Colleen or any questions that you might have about the White House or the Pennsylvania Governor's Mansion to her. I'm at lynn@lyndoyle.net. But if you have suggestions on what you're doing around your house to like kind of celebrate, and you're the first lady of your home, we'd like to hear those as well. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. Listen, if you get a chance, please pick up this month's edition of Suburban Life there with Rod Stewart on the cover, because alas, I'm on the inside. Home for Christmas is the title of the feature article of my home. I'm just so excited that they had the opportunity to come into the house. They took some great pictures, and we share with you some of my love and passion for decorating at the holiday season. So please get it. We love it. We're so excited to be part of Suburban Life and Philadelphia Life. So when we invited my guest, who's Colleen Christian Burke, to be here, she told us all about her work at the White House, what it took to decorate the White House, what it took to decorate the Pennsylvania Governor's Mansion. But then there's another part. When all the work is done, the play begins. There is a reception for all of the designers. Tell me what that's like.
That is amazing because you just get to enjoy all of the decorations in their finest. And to go to a party at the White House is just really an honor. And when you walk in and a Marine says to you, "Merry Christmas, welcome to the White House," you're just on cloud nine.
Oh my gosh, I'm getting a big smile just hearing you talk.
It's good.
Talk about it.
Yeah.
So I understand that you had a chance to take a very special guest with you?
Yeah, so the Obamas invite the decorators to the very first party of the season to kick off the festivities, and we were allowed to bring a guest. And I was so honored and flattered that my daughter, Maeve Burke, accompanied me. She came all the way down to Washington, and we had a great time.
15 years old and you're hanging out at the White House. What was that like for you?
It was so exciting. I loved it so much. It was just a wonderful experience to go there and just be a part of it.
What was it when you first walked in that made a big impression on you? Like what do you keep replaying in your mind?
Definitely the chorus when we first walked in, who were singing to us, and just all of the decorations on the walls. It was just amazing.
And how about the decorations that your mom was part of?
They were wonderful. She did such a great job. They were so
And I
nice.
paid her to say that.
Now, how about meeting the First Lady of the United States, Michelle Obama?
That was such an amazing experience. Like, I can't even imagine that happening to me in a million years, and it did, and it was so great. And she hugged me, and it was just I just loved it so much.
And she has daughters around your age, so is she easy to talk to? What did you talk to her about?
I just said Merry Christmas and all that stuff, and she said Merry Christmas to me back, and it was just great. And she was really nice to me. She was wonderful.
And just beautiful in person too, right?
She was.
Very tall and elegant.
Yeah.
She represents our country very, very well. So then you guys were there together.
Yes.
And you're looking over
So it's
and you
not-
see your daughter
I know.
with the First Lady of the United States, and you're thinking, I'm living the American dream
Well,
here.
it's not easy to impress a teenager, but I did it, Lynn.
Yay.
She was duly impressed, as was I. I mean, it really was an honor to be there with a small group of people enjoying the decorations, and it was. I couldn't believe. I never thought that was going to happen. Like, for the First Lady to embrace her was.
Right.
That was the best thank you I could get for the work that we did.
Is this picture on Facebook and Instagram and all that?
I put it on
Twitter.
everything. It's on everything.
See, you're right. That's what's impressive to the 15-year-olds
guess.
of the world. That, hey, look at me, I'm hanging with the First Lady. Well, that must have been a great experience. I don't know, now the bar has been set pretty high.
I know.
I think you might be done impressing her for a while.
Exactly. That might be it.
We
but
just
that
have
was
to get
enough.
invited again next year and see if...
Yeah, I don't know if I can do that twice, Lynn. So.
Well, I'm sure that it's a memory for a lifetime that you'll always be
is.
able to remember. So I hope that you have a great holiday season.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us. And what's your plan now? Are you going to
Well,
try to go back again?
Well, a couple of things. I'm trying to finish up the decorations at my own house because I'm behind. And believe it or not, I'm working on a book about Jackie Kennedy. Her family has released some new papers, so it's going to be an entertaining book about Jackie. But I would love to go back to the White House, but I understand that privilege needs to be shared. So I understand if twice was my time to serve.
Hey, I think it's fantastic, and thank you so much for sharing your experience with us. I'm really excited about that book. So you'll have to come
I'll
on
keep you-
when the book is done.
I'll keep you up to date.
You'll be here on the show with us. And remember, we do always want to hear from you, so if you have questions or comments or suggestions, email me at lynn@lynndoyle.net. And remember, get that Suburban Life magazine. Until then, have a great holiday season. Bye-bye.